Hello everyone and welcome to the 12th episode of Wishing Stars and Mickey Bars. In this week's episode, we'll be talking about many of the tours offered at Walt Disney World and answering some of your questions about them. So stay tuned.
We are Robert and Alyssa, also known as Here with the Ears. We lived the entire year of 2019 in the Walt Disney World resorts, sharing our experiences and adventures on social media and YouTube. Wishing Stars and Mickey Bars is our weekly show where we share tips, stories, and more about our year living in the resorts and our continued Disney adventures. In this week's episode, we're talking about all the different tours that are available at Walt Disney World. Now, we have not done all the tours. We have to put a disclaimer out there. There are a lot of them. We actually had that as one of our plans for 2020. And we all know how plans for 2020 have gone so far. So, we've not been able to complete all the tours we wanted to do. In fact, most of these are currently unavailable. So if you're looking to do any of these tours, make sure you check the Walt Disney World website for the schedule, and you can call the number there or look online and see if it's available, because not all of these are available right now. Hopefully soon, because there are several of these we've been dying to try and just have not been able to do it yet. So let's dive right in. So starting things off with the tours at Magic Kingdom, we have the one that everyone talks about and everyone wants to know about. We have the Keys to the Kingdom tour. This is the tour where you get to go backstage and go to the secret utilidors, the underground tunnels under Magic Kingdom. It's a really cool tour. Now, because you go backstage, you are required to be at least 16 years old, and that's the case for a lot of these tours. So make sure you check the fine print to see who's allowed. Some of these are geared towards younger kids, but for the most part, it's 16 and over, especially with those backstage areas involved, because you don't want to ruin the magic for little kids. No. Now, Keys to the Kingdom is a really cool tour. I've done it several times. It's one of my favorites. You kind of explore the history and the story of Magic Kingdom. So it's a really fun thing to kind of see how they crafted the story and the way the park was built. And getting to go backstage, of course, was a highlight as well.
Yes. And similar to that is actually Walt Disney Marceline to Magic Kingdom. We both really enjoyed this one because this really explores the life of Walt Disney himself as a father, as a husband, as a son, as a brother, and even as a boss. You get to know more of the personal side, which we very much enjoyed because we were both fascinated by Walt Disney and how one person can literally bring so much magic to so many people. So we both thoroughly enjoyed that one. It was probably one of our favorites of the ones we've done.
And also on that tour, you get to go backstage at the Haunted Mansion, which was a really cool thing. You get to see the ballroom scene from the back. So you get to kind of understand how the Pepper's Ghost Illusion works, and you see the dancing and the organist and all that stuff. It was just really cool to go backstage at Haunted Mansion. So that was a highlight of that tour for me. And then the other Magic Kingdom tour that we have done was the Taste of Magic Kingdom tour.
It was so good.
This was a great tour. We loved it because we love to eat and love to try different foods and things. But it was really cool because not only did they just have you try different foods around Magic Kingdom, they also showed you where some of them were made. So, for example, we got to go see the kitchen at Casey's Corner, and we also got to see the kitchen at Jungle Skipper. So that was really fun to kind of see backstage how it all works. And we also got to try some really good food there, too.
That's right. And there were several things I actually couldn't have, specifically a donut that had very pretty colors on it. And for those who don't know, I actually can't have food coloring. So there were several things I couldn't have. I did let them know ahead of time. They do ask if there are allergies. I will tell you on the website, it does say they cannot accommodate allergies. However, they were very kind in letting me know what I could not have and what I could have. And they actually gave me a bowl of fruit that lasted me pretty much the whole time. It was a very large bowl of fruit that I got to enjoy because there were things I couldn't have. So they do try to work with you as much as possible. So just let them know. The next one at Magic Kingdom is the Magic Behind Our Steam Trains, which we actually would have really enjoyed last year. However, it has not been going because nothing to do with 2020. This is actually because the train is currently down due to them building Tron.
Right, and the train track goes right through where Tron is, so they're rearranging all of that. And hopefully next year sometime when Tron opens, assuming it's still on schedule, we'll be able to take that tour when the railroad reopens, because I think it looks amazing. And knowing Walt's love of trains, it should be a really cool tour. And I'm kind of curious how they tie that in together. Now, there is one more tour at Magic Kingdom that we haven't done that we do intend to do one day when maybe my siblings are down or when we have some friends down who have kids. It is the Family Magic Tour at Magic Kingdom. This is a shorter tour, and it's made for kids like 4 to 10 years old. So there is no real age limit as far as having to be 16 or anything like that. It's actually a scavenger hunt style tour, and I've heard really great things about this from all the people I know that have done it. So I cannot wait to do it one day when we have some kids down here with us, whether it's our family or friends. But right now they're not offering that tour anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. And then at Magic Kingdom, they also have a few other tours throughout the year for different holidays and things. I know for sure there's some Christmas ones they do, and we don't really know the status of those as of yet, but we were hoping to do at least one of the backstage holiday magic type tours. Hopefully that'll come back around for 2020. If not, we'll look to do it next year.
Moving over to Epcot, they actually have quite a few tours there. One of the most popular is Behind the Scenes, which allows you to go behind the scenes of Living with the Land. They tell you about some of the horticulture behind there and so many amazing things that they've created there at Disney. We cannot wait to do this one. We actually had it scheduled several times last year, but due to scheduling conflicts had to cancel. So we are determined to do this one when it comes back because we are so excited. We love learning behind the scenes of things, and that is just an amazing ride.
Yeah, I love Living with the Land, so I can't wait to actually do that tour. That is one that I've had on my list for a very long time and just can't seem to make it work for whatever reason. It's like we're destined to not go on that tour. Now, next to the land is the Seas, and they actually have 3 different tours over at the Seas. First, they have Dolphins in Depth when you get to go and swim with the dolphins, which looks really, really cool. We wanted to do it, but we haven't done it because we have swam with dolphins before in the Caribbean a couple different times. So it was like, I eventually will get around to it, but since we've done that, it's not really super high on our list. They also have a Dive Quest tour, which is for those who are scuba certified. You can go and actually go diving in the seas in all the aquariums there. It's a really cool thing. You look in there and see like divers swimming around. It's really fun. And if you're not scuba certified, which is on my bucket list, but haven't gotten there yet, they have the Aqua Tour in the Seas, which is kind of the same as Dive Quest, except you're only snorkeling, so you don't have to be scuba certified or anything like that. So there's a lot of tours there to do at the Seas, and we hope to do at least one of them soon. But again, right now they're not offering any of those.
There are also quite a few different festival tours that they have during the holidays or different festivals. One of the ones we really enjoyed that we got to do right before everything closed earlier this year is during the Flower and Garden Festival. They have a tea tour that is free, by the way, over in the UK. You do have to sign up for it ahead of time, but we actually got to enjoy that one. I will say I don't drink tea. I don't enjoy it, but I really enjoyed getting to learn about all the processes and the different plants. They were very thorough, and we really enjoyed that part of it. And of course, they had samplings at the end, which you very much enjoyed.
Yes, I did. I like tea a lot. In fact, I probably like tea more than coffee. So the tea tour was really cool for me, and I did actually wind up buying some tea after it was all over. But it was a really cool thing to do.
So it worked for them.
Yes, it did. The free tour did actually cost me money at the end. Now, there are a few other tours at Epcot that are currently unavailable, and we don't know the status of whether they're coming back. There's one where you tour around Future World, which currently has a lot of construction going on, and there's another one that goes around World Showcase. Both of those are currently unavailable, and we're not sure when they're coming back. And then there's one other tour that used to start at Epcot. It's called Backstage Magic. This was interesting because this tour is not really an Epcot tour. It's more of a backstage tour. You start at Epcot, and then you go to Magic Kingdom, and then you end up at Animal Kingdom, and you wind up eating at Tiffin's, and you go to Rivers of Light, which currently has been canceled. So we don't really know what's going to happen with the Backstage Magic tour. It was always on our list to do. We just never got to it because we focused more on the Magic Kingdom tours. It looked really cool because you get to go backstage at costuming and stuff. So I'm hoping what they do is they modify it so you don't end at Rivers of Light. Maybe you end at Fantasmic or something like that, because I'd like to take that tour when it comes back. But for now, that one's not available either.
And a personal favorite for me, heading over to Animal Kingdom, we actually did Caring for Giants for my birthday last year, and I love animals, so Robert knew I would very much enjoy this. We got to go behind the scenes and see some of the elephants and learn about them, specifically baby elephant Stella. We got to learn a little bit about her. We really enjoyed going back there, and you don't get to pet them. You're not on the savannah, but you do get closer than if you were on the safari. So we really enjoyed that. We got to ask as many questions as we wanted. This is a cheaper tour, and it's not very long, but it's a great way to do something different when you're at Animal Kingdom. And if you have someone who loves animals, like I do, it's a great option for them, especially for a celebration.
Yeah, and similar to that tour, they also have the Up Close with Rhinos. That one you actually do get to pet the rhino or touch the rhino. Cool. I don't know if you really pet a rhino, you like touch it, but you know, you get to see the rhinos up close and personal. It's a really inexpensive tour, just like Caring for Giants. It's a little bit on the shorter side. I think it's under an hour, but haven't gotten to do that one. That one was totally booked up every time we tried to do it last year. So you definitely want to book those in advance if you're doing it. And I recommend both of those because I've heard nothing but good things about the Rhino Tour. And again, we loved Caring for Giants.
And continuing with the Animal Lovers tours, they also have the Wild Africa Trek, which is a 3-hour tour.
A 3-hour tour. Yeah.
Hopefully some of you got that.
Okay, I'm not that old. I just liked TV Land growing up. It's not my fault.
Well, just in case someone didn't get that, would you like to explain what it is?
That was a reference to Gilligan's Island, not a Disney show. I know. Tell them about the Wild Africa Trek.
So the Wild Africa Trek is a 3-hour tour.
Yeah.
Okay, he didn't do it again. And you do get to go over the rope bridge if you've ever been on the safari. There's a rope bridge above the crocodiles, and you can walk across there. You do get to be on the savannah, and there's pictures taken while you're out there, and of course, our favorite thing ever, snacks. So that's super important. When you're out there for 3 hours, that's a long time. You need a snack on the way. But it is supposed to be an amazing tour. We have not been able to do this one yet. We are looking forward to the day they can bring it back because it sounds incredible. We've heard amazing things about it from everyone who has done it.
And we actually had plans to do this one in, I think, early April is what we were looking at. And then, of course, that didn't happen. So hopefully they'll bring it back soon and we'll be able to do this one because this one looks really cool. I'm specifically looking forward to doing the whole rope bridge over the crocodiles and the hippos and all that stuff. It looks really cool. And then the last tour over at Animal Kingdom that we have not done but looks pretty cool. And in fact, Alyssa was hoping to do this one for her birthday this year. Yeah. They have the Savor the Savannah tour where you get to go out and have a smaller safari truck that takes you out there, and you actually have dinner out there on the savannah. You have a sampling of all kinds of different foods and drinks and things like that. It looks like the most awesome experience. We've seen people out there doing it before while we're on the safari. Haven't been able to do it ourselves. So we were hoping that maybe that comes back for her birthday. We'll see. I mean, we've got a couple months, but I'm not counting on it. So anyway, when that does come back, we are looking forward to doing that one because it looks really good and the food looks amazing.
Yes. And for each of those tours that we've talked about in the parks, you do have to have park admission. So if you'd like to do a tour but don't want to pay the extra for another day at the park, you can do a tour over at the resorts. So at Animal Kingdom Lodge, they actually have what they call the Starlight Safari. That's where you get to go out at night on the savannah in a truck, and they give you night vision goggles, and you get to see the animals out. And of course, they're usually a little more active at night. You get to see them kind of moving a little more. It's not as hot at that time, so they're feeding and just enjoying themselves. Yeah. So we are very much looking forward to this one. Again, it was something we had planned to do. Unfortunately, we have not been able to yet.
Although I will say they did have night vision goggles out at the resort just in the viewing area. So we've used them before, and it's pretty cool, but they're still pretty far away. So I think being out there in the truck riding around will be a really cool experience, and I'm looking forward to doing that one. Another really cool private safari tour at Animal Kingdom Lodge is the Jiko Winyama Safari. It is a private 90-minute safari ride out around Animal Kingdom Lodge. You get to see all the animals. It's only up to 12 people, so it's a small group in the truck. And they give you a lot of facts and information about the animals. I have heard rave reviews about this. And after we ate at Jiko last year and discovered that it's one of our favorite restaurants of all time,
amazing food.
We cannot wait to do this safari tour. So it does include dinner at Jiko. So you do the 90-minute safari and then you have dinner at Jiko. It's all included, and it's really not a whole lot more than it would be for dinner at Jiko in the first place. So it's not that bad, and we are very much looking forward to doing this one because this is the one that I've heard talked about at Animal Kingdom Lodge more than anything else. So hopefully that will come back soon. We can put that on the list.
And the final tour they have at Animal Kingdom Lodge is the Sense of Africa. This is a 3.5-hour tour where you get to have breakfast at Boma, you get to learn about Animal Kingdom Lodge itself, and you get to go backstage and see some of the animals back there. So that sounds incredible because if you can be up close and personal with an animal, I love learning about them, I love getting to experience and be there with them. So that one just sounds amazing to me.
And that one's available for kids as young as 10. So you can bring a little bit of the younger kids with you there on that one too, where a lot of them have that higher 16 and up limit. So that's really nice. And then the other tour that's available at one of the resorts is actually over at Fort Wilderness Campground. Now this is currently available, and we do plan to do it soon because it looks like a lot of fun. We were just waiting on the heat to die off from the summer because it's pretty hot here in the summer. I don't want to go out and do anything adventurous in the woods, but it is the Wilderness Back Trail Adventure. This is a Segway tour. Ooh. Yes, like Paul Blart Segway tour, but it has like off-road tires on it. It's not just like the ones you ride around the mall or whatever. So you get to go out on the back trails. It is a guided tour, and you get to ride around at Fort Wilderness and kind of explore all the trails back in there on Segways. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like I'm probably going to fall on my face when I try it, but it still will be a lot of fun. So we're going to have to try that out soon, and that's again over at Fort Wilderness.
And moving on from resort tours over to VIP tours, these VIP tours actually include rides and a personal tour guide for the group. They are basically going to be your fast pass into these rides, and they'll give you a lot of helpful information, fun information. You can ask them any question. We love asking as many questions as we can because they seem to know everything there is to know about Disney.
And it's kind of cool having your own human fast pass walking around with you too. Like, they are really cool to walk up to the line and like, oh yeah, he's just like, go right in here, and like, okay, come on through, because he's got the plaid, so it's fine.
So the first tour we're going to talk about on this list is the Ultimate Disney Classics. These are all the classics you can imagine in Magic Kingdom. Anything the kids want to ride, this is on the list. It's approximately 4 hours and includes Small World, Winnie the Pooh, Little Mermaid, Teacups, all those fun Disney classics. That's part of this tour.
And this is a really good one for younger kids if you've got them there and you want to be able to ride all those rides again with minimal wait, because they're going to run you through that fast pass line. So it's a great one for kids. It doesn't have an age requirement or anything like that. And very similar to the Ultimate Disney Classics Tour, they also have the Ultimate Nights of Adventure Tour. Now, this one is canceled as of right now because it does have Rivers of Light as the ending. It is an Animal Kingdom tour. So we're not sure if they're going to bring it back. Are they going to modify it? We're not really sure what's going on. But as of right now, still not available. And this Ultimate Nights of Adventure Tour is basically an evening at Animal Kingdom riding all the big rides. So you got to ride Everest, the Safari, Pandora, Navi River Journey, Dinosaur, and then end at Rivers of Light. And you get to kind of explore the park after dark, again, with that VIP tour guide putting you right onto most of those attractions. So it's a really neat little tour, a little shorter, again, 4 hours, just like the Ultimate Disney Classics. But again, not available right now. So we're hoping that one maybe comes back. The Ultimate Tours are a lot of fun, and that leads us to the last Ultimate Tour.
Yes, and this one is the Ultimate Day of Thrills. So basically, every ride in the parks that everyone wants to be on, that's part of this tour. This is a 7-hour tour that does include a quick service lunch. Starting in Magic Kingdom, it includes the mountains, Space, Splash, and Thunder, Haunted Mansion, and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Heading over to Epcot, it includes Soarin'. And we head over to finish the day in Hollywood Studios, where you get to ride Slinky Dog Dash, Toy Story Mania, Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, and Star Tours. You may have noticed in that list, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was not included, so that has not been included at this time. We don't know if when they bring it back it will be. We're not sure.
Probably not, if I had to guess. They also don't include Animal Kingdom, so you don't get to ride Everest or Flight of Passage. So if you're looking to go to all 4 parks in a day, which can be done, you need to take a step up from the Ultimate Day of Thrills and move on to the private VIP tour. This is the one that everyone dreams about. This is where you and a group of up to 10 people total get a private tour guide for as many hours as you want, minimum of 7, for the entire day. And they will take you anywhere you want to go, any park, any ride. They'll put you through the Fast Pass line. They'll take you backstage to get there. So let's say you want to park hop from Magic Kingdom over to Epcot, and you just want to ride Soarin' at Epcot and then leave. No problem. They'll park backstage right by Soarin', walk you in a back door, ride Soarin', walk you right back out backstage, and drive to the next destination. It's a really, really cool experience.
We absolutely love the private VIP tours. We've done them 4 times now, and we've done them different ways, but one of our favorite ways is to do it for a grand opening. For instance, in 2018, we went to Toy Story Land on a private VIP tour with some friends, and it was such an amazing experience. And I'm going to be honest, going through the Fast Pass line was the best thing ever because it can be so busy on those grand opening days.
Yeah.
We also did it for the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. We got some close friends together. We did it there. And they were all Star Wars fans, which of course made it even better because you got Star Wars fans going into Galaxy's Edge. So it's a great way to experience the grand opening of something without having to wait in those crazy lines.
Another reason that we split it with our friends is that these tours are not cheap. They start at $425 an hour and go up to $750 an hour, depending on the season. So if you're going to do a tour over Christmas week, going to cost you a lot more than, let's say, the middle of September, for example. But when you're splitting it 10 ways, it's not as bad. It's a little more bearable. Keep in mind, you do have to have park admission in addition to the tour. So it can be pretty pricey, but splitting it 10 ways makes it a little easier to swallow. And there really is nothing like taking that private VIP tour, doing whatever you want in the parks, any ride you want to do. He walks you up or she walks you up and puts you right on the ride. You don't have to wait in the line. Maybe a little bit of a fast pass wait, but it is the coolest experience. And you feel like super fancy as you walk around. But then you also feel kind of guilty as you walk past people who are in line for like an hour and a half. And you just, okay, I'm just going to walk by and get on the ride now. Just don't look at me. It's fine.
But it is a unique experience. It's a great way to experience the park, especially if you've been multiple times and are trying to look for something different for your family. You do get to go backstage. That's how you get from park to park. And so it's much faster if you are park hopping. Of course, you don't have to. If you'd like to stay in the same park the whole day, you can. A great way to end your private VIP tour is with a special viewing area to watch the fireworks.
Now, of course, there are no fireworks right now, so you're going to want to end your tour a little differently. You can either ride rides till the very end and then have the guide just leave you there in the park, or they will take you back to your resort here on property. They'll also pick you up at your resort to start the tour, but keep in mind if they do that, your clock starts when they pick you up. So you might want to go ahead and meet them in the park versus having them pick you up at the resort. Just kind of depends on how you want to utilize your time. Also, keep in mind they don't stop the clock for lunch. So if you're going to have a lunch, we recommend doing a quick service mobile order so you can grab something, sit down and eat it quickly, or take it with you while you're walking through the park. That way you're not burning any of that precious time from the tour sitting down and having a meal.
Yes, so the one that we do most often is we'll ride Flight of Passage, mobile order at Satuli Canteen, and then head right back to Flight of Passage and ride it again, and sometimes go around and ride it another time because Flight of Passage is that good.
It's pretty amazing. Now, of all the tours we talked about, this one is for sure still going. The private VIP tours are currently available. In fact, they are the only way that you can actually park hop right now. So if you do decide to take a private VIP tour right now while there is no park hopping, your tour guide can still get you into other parks. So let's say you wanted to try and ride all the big rides, starting at Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom. They can still park hop with you, so you don't have to worry about that. If you would like to park hop, they've got you covered. They'll take care of it on the tour. And whatever it is you want to do on your tour, all you have to do is let them know when you call to book. They'll help you plan the itinerary for the entire day. Of course, it's your day. You can do whatever you want with it. But they're going to try and help you optimize it to make the best use of your time so that you feel very happy at the end that you got to do everything you want to do. I know we've done one of them before where we did, I think, 16 rides in the 7-hour period for our tour because we did the minimum. So you can get a lot done and you can have a lot of fun on the tour. So it's something we highly recommend, especially if you split the cost with 9 other people, making it a lot easier to swallow.
It definitely does. And again, that's a great way to enjoy it. You get to enjoy it with friends, take those pictures together on the rides, have a great time. But it also helps offset the cost because we do know that they are expensive.
Now, we've had a few questions come in about the different tours over on Facebook and Instagram when we asked what kind of questions you'd like to have answered. The first one that came in was, what tour would you recommend for a Disney fan to take as their first tour?
So this is always fun because our first tour was actually a private VIP tour, and I don't know that I would actually recommend that for your very first one. We're so glad we did it, but after doing some of the others, there are a couple different answers here. So if you're a Walt Disney World fan, we would recommend Keys to the Kingdom because you get to really learn about the park, how things work, the cast members. We really enjoy that part of it, and it really does focus on the park.
And if you're more of just a general Disney fan or a fan of Walt Disney, the Walt Disney Marceline to Magic Kingdom tour is amazing. We absolutely love that one. And Keys to the Kingdom, very similar but also very different.
Yeah.
So I would say either Marceline to Magic Kingdom or Keys to the Kingdom. If I had to pick one personally, I would say Keys to the Kingdom. I actually took that one as soon as I turned 16. I was kind of I'm going to be 16. Other kids are like, oh, I'm going to get my license at 16. I'm like, I'm going to go on the Keys to the Kingdom tour. Yes, I was that much of a nerd in high school. It's okay. Still am, whatever. But yeah, I would recommend those 2 tours for your first one.
And along that same line, someone did ask, if you go on Keys to the Kingdom, does it ruin the magic?
I think the answer kind of depends on who you are. So if you were a kid, I think it would pretty much ruin the magic. But if you're 16 and older, you probably aren't under any illusions that, things don't work differently backstage. So I personally thought it just enhanced the magic for me. Going behind the scenes and seeing oh, that's how they did that, or understanding why they did certain things at Magic Kingdom. For example, all the windows down Main Street and the names that are there and the placement of the names very intentionally, where Roy's name is and where Walt's name is and all these different things. It was a really, really cool thing for me because I'm looking at it and going, wow, this is just so much detail that went into this that I never even knew. I feel like it made the magic a little bit more special for me versus ruining it. That being said, you may see some things while backstage, especially down in the utilidors, that would ruin the magic for younger guests. So it's definitely important that you don't have any misunderstanding about what you may see when you're on this tour. You are going backstage. So if you're worried about it ruining the magic because you believe in it really hardcore, you probably don't want to take it. But I think anyone 16 and up will be fine taking it. It'll actually make it better.
And it was my first time going on Keys to the Kingdom last year, and we both really enjoyed it. And I didn't feel like it ruined the magic for me at all, because as an adult, there are so many times you wonder how things are done or how they're created. And to see just how much goes into making magic for one day, for one experience for someone, that really is truly such a magical experience in itself. Mm-hmm. Disney is such a huge place, and yet we all have felt the magic in some way, shape, or form, because as big as it is, they work so hard to make everything special for each person. So I really think that knowing some of that behind the scenes and just everything that went into making that special moment for someone or doing this special thing, it really does create a different type of magic.
Yeah. Someone else asked, what are the best tours for families versus just adults?
So for this one, some of it will be determined by the age range here, because there are so many that you can't have anyone under 16 on. Mm-hmm. But the VIP tours, specifically the Ultimate Tours, Ultimate Day of Thrills, Ultimate Disney Classics, the ride ones specifically are so good for families. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, if you have a 16-year-old, for instance, like Robert, who loves the Disney story, who loves the parks, something like Keys to the Kingdom will be good for them. Mm-hmm. But those backstage tours are better for adults, because as an adult, you appreciate it a lot more. And as a kid, the rides are really what attracts you to the parks.
Now, there are a couple other tours that are available for kids that they would enjoy. Mm-hmm. For example, the Family Magic Tour that we mentioned is targeted towards the smaller kids. It's kind of created for them. Mm-hmm. Just look at the age limits and age requirements on the tours, and that'll pretty much tell you. Disney has done a really good job on their website specifying which ones are geared towards kids versus which ones are just kind of for everyone that's adults and 16 and up and things like that.
And this was a really good question. Which tours are the best bang for your buck?
So if I had to pick the tours that were the best value, I think the first one I would pick would be the Jiko Winyama Safari, because it includes dinner at Jiko and it has that private safari out there at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And dinner at Jiko is amazing anyway, so if I get to have dinner there and I'm already going to spend a pretty decent amount of money eating there, because it's not exactly a cheap restaurant, it is a signature restaurant. So eating there plus having the private safari is awesome. And then I think the private VIP tours can actually be a really good value for what you get. So for example, the Ultimate Day of Thrills tour, the 7-hour tour where you go to the 3 different parks and ride many of the top thrill rides, that is a $350 tour per person. But if you take the private VIP tour and you have 10 people to split it with, it can be even cheaper than $350 a person. Yep. So it just kind of depends on if you're able to get 10 people together. That VIP tour, the private one, may be a really good bang for your buck if you can make that work out with the off-season and a larger group to split it with.
And a few of the smaller ones that are really great are the Up Close with Rhinos, the Caring for Giants, and Behind the Scenes. Those are all less expensive tours than many of the others and create this really unique experience, wonderful memories with the family. And again, you get to learn something. So it's educational and fun, which is a big deal for us because we love combining those things.
And I will throw out there too that the Marceline to Magic Kingdom and Keys to the Kingdom tours, I feel like are very reasonably priced, especially because Keys to the Kingdom does come with lunch. So when you factor that in and you look at what you get for those, I feel like those are actually pretty good value for what you get, even though it's not this big, VIP tour where you're riding rides and stuff like that. And the final question, of all the tours that we have done, which one has been your favorite?
So I'm a little biased because I love animals, so I'm going to have to say the Caring for Giants. I loved going back there. And even though we weren't petting the elephants, I got to learn so much about them and be up close. We took so many pictures and video, and I am looking forward to the up close with the rhinos because I will actually get to pet them.
And I think my favorite one would probably be Marceline to Magic Kingdom, very, very closely edging out Keys to the Kingdom. So I love Keys to the Kingdom. I've done it a couple times, and the whole Magic Kingdom and all the backstage stuff was really cool. But Marceline to Magic Kingdom just had so much of Walt, and it was learning about his life. That combined with actually going to Marceline this year kind of made it even better. So I would probably pick Marceline to Magic Kingdom as my personal favorite. But for most people, I would recommend doing Keys to the Kingdom first, just because it's a little bit of a bigger tour, a little bit more fun, and you also have lunch included.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Wishing Stars and Mickey Bars, and we hope you learned something fun about the tours at Walt Disney World, and maybe have one on your list for next time you go. On next week's episode, we'll be talking about things to do for couples at Walt Disney World and the Walt Disney World resorts. I'm very excited about this one because we get these questions a lot, so we're going to put this together, and I hope it really helps many of you.
Yeah, see, we're those childless millennials that everyone talks about, and we've got a lot of things that we've done at the parks and resorts, and we're excited about next week's episode and talking about it. If you have any questions about things couples can do at the parks or at the resorts, we're going to post up on our Facebook and Instagram on Tuesday a Q&A post. You can comment there, and we'll do our best to answer your questions on next week's episode. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time,
We're here with the ears.